Hi! So I'm making this video because I legitimately asked a couple questions or had some thoughts. I'd said in the last video I was in dismay by how easy it is to manipulate people into hating each other and fighting with each other, and I couldn't understand it. And then I meditated on it, and then I could see that because I listen to so many different information sources, and because I look into why certain people think the way they think about whatever, whether it's the flat earthers or the reptilians, or I looked into global warming, which led me to Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. So I've looked into all these things, and then and then there's a chunk of people, there's a group of people that think Obama is the Antichrist, and they have all these clips with all these quotes and all this stuff. And then there's another minister or whatever who believes that Trump is the Antichrist, and he also has clips and things that were said, and and then put it all together, and they're really sure. So everybody's really sure of what they think they're finding, and I'm not saying anyone's wrong. I'm just saying there is so much information, so much stuff to go through, and it's impossible for one human being to take everything in that's happening. So now I understand how I didn't have an appreciation for how easily manipulated people are, and it was stunning to me. And now I realize that people are just bombarded and with information, and from multiple sources, and then if you're on Facebook, you have ads running all the time on the sides. If you're on YouTube, you have videos running on the sides, and then there's ads in between those videos sometimes, and if you follow someone on Twitter, then there's 3 accounts that pop up that you might want to follow. And so it's just, social media will take every second of your time if you let it. So I'm sorry that I was not more understanding, but now I asked a sincere question of how can it be, and I get it now. Well, I get it to this degree that I can get it. I get it to the degree that I can understand it right now. So I do. I do understand why people are so easily manipulated to fight. In my opinion, it's easily manipulated because, if you just met a person, for the most part, if you just met a person and you didn't know their religion or their political persuasion, one thing I really liked about, so it's what's today? Today's November 14th or 15th, 2018, and so what I really liked about the last, election series, November 6th, was that everybody felt like they won. So Republicans won the Senate, and Democrats won the House, and what do they call it? People who hate government. Anarchists felt like they won too, because I saw that in all the votes counted, one anarchist site said that more people didn't vote than voted, so they felt like they won too. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I mean, we are where we are, and the ego works a certain way to always be looking for validation of what it already believes to keep you safe, sane, and secure. It all comes down to this. It's so simple. The ego has created multiple defense mechanisms to keep you safe, sane, and secure. It creates these stories that it runs to make you a hero and a victim, often of the same person. You know, I did all this for her, and then she, you know, I did all this for her, and I'm hero, 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 and then she turns around and does this to me. I'm a victim. So these hero, victim, martyr stories in our minds, it's just the ego. And it's not a bad thing. It's just like I always say, it's like it comes with the body. So when you incarnate physically, you get a meat suit and you get an ego to boot. So that's what's happening. So smart people figured these things out way before I came along, and they learned how they could, you know, make money off of you by manipulating your ego. And that's all it is. It's manipulating your ego. And you know, my videos, as entertaining as I could ever be, is just not going to be as much fun probably as playing Candy Crush. And I try and make meditation fun and easy. And you know, what I do on Sunday nights, you can do anytime. But the lights are flashing and the, you know, song and dance just, I get what people see. I get it now. I get that it feels good to be right. It feels good to find more information that already proves what you think, whether you think Obama or Trump is the Antichrist or the savior of the world. You know, there is so much information out there, and I don't mean to laugh about any of it. I'm not laughing. But I also know it's like the only way forward is to come into alignment with your spirit, and you put your ego on a leash so that you can, you know, just be powerful, peaceful, powerful love. You can't be a victim and empowered at the same time. And the ego can only, you know, if you align with your ego, you will never be powerful. You know, you just be a victim of someone all the time. So I do understand. I understand now. And I feel like I was a little harsh with the not understanding. When I'll be honest, I kind of felt like people are really this stupid. You know, and I don't like to have these judgments, but now I see that it's just their reality. It's being created virtually. So through you know, your cell phone or your computer, whatever algorithms, everything you taught, what, you know, there's these people who, one person was talking about cat food, like making a joke, they don't even own a cat, and then all of a sudden there's all these cat food, you know, ads, you know, on their phone, and they're like, what the hell, I don't even have a cat, why are these cat food ads? And so people started to notice that when they said something, it would pop up. So their phone was clearly like listening to them, even though they hadn't tried to put some programs. So you know, like they weren't like using an app that's like, hey, listen to me all the time and try and sell me crap that I'm talking about. They hadn't done that, but it was happening. So that's why when I asked the question, how are people so easily manipulated? This is how. Because a virtual reality is being created around you based on what news sources you choose to look at. And I don't look at news sources the way I think most people try and get their news to find out what's going on. So they're following like one source. I I gave up on, those sources a long time ago. I had some stuff happen where I was like, years ago, I was like, oh my God. So those were my experiences. So I use news sources now to find out, why do those people think like that? So I've had to go to different places so I could figure out, oh, that's why they think this, and that's why they think this, and that's why. So I guess the way I live, the way I look up stuff, it sort of throws the algorithm off. I love listening to people. I love listening to people tell me tell everybody, tell the world why they feel the way they do, and they're so passionate about it. I like to hear real people do that. The pretty people dressed up for the news, I'm not blaming them. I'm not calling them liars, because they have a job to do. They get up really early. They can't binge on pizza and like a bag of chocolate like I can. They have to stay pretty. They have to stay pretty all the time, and then they get up early, and then they go in, they get their hair and makeup done and an outfit, and then they sit there with a script that they're given, and they read the news as they look attractive into a camera, and that's their job. So I'm not calling them liars, and I'm not mad or anything about it. It's what it is. But now I understand why people don't see what I see. They're just not looking at the same things. And it's not their fault that they're not looking. There actually is these virtual reality kind of like walls going up around people. So if you're a conservative, your news feeds and your Twitter and all your social media, they're building this like virtual reality around you. And they're doing it to the same thing to liberals, and they're doing it the same thing to, religious people, anybody, anyone and everyone.